graveyard shift.
Oh God, this isn't bad.
Wow! Eat for breakfast.
All American.
This place is infested. Maybe.
Okay, so here I am in, I guess, what would be Main Street, Harmony in Maine. This is about 9 miles away and about 12, 13 miles away from where they filmed Creepshow 2, the opening and closing of the film. But this is Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. And I just figured I'd come and snag these shots since it's on the way to my next location, which is the Bachman Mill from the Graveyard Shift, the central location for the whole film. But, and you'll have to excuse me, I can't remember all the characters' names. I watched this movie for the first time like 4 nights ago. Never seen it, but I knew it was filmed in Maine, and I figure I live in Maine. Why not hit all the Stephen King filming locations that I can? Because that's what I like to do. So let me just show you the shot. This would be when the main character, again, I apologize on the name, and the girl, can't remember her name either, that works at the mill, they're driving through town. And so we get this kind of view. So there's a shot about like that. There's a couple of old guys just kind of standing around, and the car comes driving through this way and goes up over the hill. And I think in the film, this is like I guess a general store, maybe, I'm not really sure. And then you also get this shot over here, that's my truck in the frame, where they're kind of coming up this way across that little bridge area, which isn't actually, I don't believe in the film it was a bridge, so they've done work to that. But you can see this little island kind of right here in the middle. The signs, stop sign. But that's it, and it's about, so the mill location is actually about a half a mile, if that, down the road. Once you cross that little bridge, you're going to take a left, and we're going to be at Bachman Mills. So I'm going to pop in and do that right now. So one of the things that's interesting about living in Maine is there's a lot of kind of, I guess you would say, dying towns. And it's really sad to see. Now, I don't typically drive. I've never been up in this area. This is Harmony, Maine. I'm half a mile away from the mill, from Graveyard Shift, and it's just really sad. I think where I am is kind of Main Street, but I will say this. I will not be staying here overnight. So this is on, I guess, Main Street, Harmony, Maine. Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites. No vacancy. Thank God. But it's just really sad to see these kind of dying towns that at one time were prosperous and booming, and now they're nothing, you know. Barely anybody lives here, and I just don't think that there's much industry in this area. It's just really kind of sad to see, because you know at one time it was kind of booming, you know. Okay, so here I am at the mill location from Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. This is where most of the movie was filmed. This is my first time here. This is in Harmony, Maine, and this is a creepy ass looking building. But I gotta tell you, it is so much smaller than they make it look on screen. This is not really what I envisioned at all. I just talked to a woman that works here. I can't go inside right now for insurance purposes, but they do tours. So if anybody's interested, free tours in early August, and they kind of take you through the whole building and they show you how everything works at this mill. And then obviously, you know, where the interior stuff that they did film here was filmed. It's quite interesting to think that a film crew, because they did shoot on location, it's interesting to think that a film crew could make it work inside this building, because it's so much smaller than I imagined. Let's give you a look here. So this is it. Bachman Mills, Stephen King's graveyard shift. Much smaller than maybe it even looks on my phone. A lot of stuff was filmed out here. You can see these buildings quite a bit, quite prominent throughout the film during the exterior shots. And actually an interesting action scene happens right here, believe it or not, where the owner, I guess, kind of gets into an altercation, if you will, with his girlfriend or girl he's sleeping with at the time. I can't really remember. I apologize, I don't have all the details. This was kind of an impromptu stop, and I didn't really research as much as I should before I came here. But anyway, some action takes place right here. There's a car. The girl smashes his car with an axe because he's the owner, and he put her on the shift responsible for cleaning up the basement of this place. So as you can see, I know there's a couple of shots right here just like this from this angle. I think there used to be a light here, like a little light post, overhead outside light, which has since been gone. But yeah, they come in and out of this door quite a bit. And let me see if I can get a wide shot. Yeah, this is kind of a wider shot of the mill. You can see the whole building. It's really old building. I apologize, I don't have the facts in terms of the history of this building and this mill, but let's take a look around. This is the back side of the mill here, which is really interesting because in the film, I'm pretty sure there was I think it's taken from back here. Let me back up just a little bit. If you stand back here, there's a couple of shots that are sort of like this from down low, and there's actually like a graveyard over here, like a cemetery that's kind of sinking into the stream, which, as you can see, is, well, not real. But yeah, and this is where you see Brad Dourif's character. He plays the exterminator, and he's doing some stuff down here, cleaning up, pumping the rats from the basement out into the mill stream, which kind of runs along that way. Now, interestingly enough, the basement and really everything filmed in the quote basement was actually filmed in Bangor, Maine. That's Bangor, not Bangor. So if you ever come to visit Maine and you visit Stephen King country, please don't refer to it as Bangor. It's Bangor. So all of that stuff, the stuff that happens in the basement, there's a lot of tunnels and things like that. And as you can see, this building, there's not a lot to it. I mean, you got that concrete slab that it's sitting on, and there's obviously no tunnels, but it's like a maze and a labyrinth of tunnels in the film. That was filmed at the Bangor Waterworks facility, and they just made it look like the basement of this place. So let's get a view from the other side. So this is the angle from the other side. When you approach the mill, you kind of come down this road. And as you can see, really not a whole lot in terms of a basement. But let's go over here, see if we can get a better angle. So you can see from this angle, right up in here, above those windows, or between the two sets of windows on the different floors, it said Bachman Mills. And the place is actually called, I think it's Battle Yarns. So they spin yarn here in real life, but it is an actual functioning mill still to this day. Pretty impressive. I gotta double check and find out how old this building is, but it's definitely obvious that it is very old. Okay, so it's kind of treacherous right here. As you can see, I'm literally standing on, well, icebergs. But I was just trying to get the angle, which is kind of from down low, and it's like that. And in the foreground, you know, you can see a little bit of like cemetery gates and grating, metal grating and stuff like that for where the cemetery was supposed to be, just outside of the mill. So I think that's gonna do it for Battle Yarns Mill, or Bachman Mills, from Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Not one of my favorite Stephen King movies, but it's really not that bad. It's definitely worth a watch. I think it gets a lot of hate as just being a really terrible movie. I'm not going to say one way or the other whether I think it's terrible, but it's certainly not as bad as people make it out to be. And if you're a Stephen King fan, I definitely recommend checking it out at least once. And if you're ever in the little town of Harmony, Maine, I recommend coming and checking it out.
Show's over. Yeah. So hard, so juicy. Damn! The graveyard shift.
Oh God, this isn't bad.